Hello everyone, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button, and I thought today we would stitch onto one of the stamped bees that we made on Monday. On Mondays I have like a mindfulness day. I call it mindful makes, and we always end with a little short meditation, and it's just a simple thought meditation to kind of like, I don't know, help your well-being. That's what they kind of do. And the theme was just be. So it was about just being you, just being who you are, that sort of thing. So we did that, and I stamped a lot of bees because these are kind of jobs that I do. I make things sustainably as possible, so that means that I use things that already exist rather than buying new. I in particularly don't buy sort of single-use craft items anymore. I have done in the past. It's just my own personal sort of change in perspective and ethics that I've decided that's not something I want to include in my creative practice, really. So that's why we are making our own stuffs. Well, I'm making my own stuffs. Whether you do that is completely up to you. So I stamped the bees on this yellow fabric that, like I said, I can't quite remember where I got it from. So it was either from a charity shop or somebody gave it to me. It's definitely before I moved house. Yeah. So now I'm just going to go over the stamping with the black. And it's actually not a true black, this thread. It's a really lovely vintage one. I'll show you when I've done this tricky stitch. And none of them are really tricky stitches. We're just literally making marks with our thread. But this, I don't know if you'll be able to see it now because it's all black. But if I keep unraveling it, it'll turn brown. Will it turn brown, or is it going to make a liar out of me? It was brown. I don't unravel it too much. Oh, I wonder if it was just a quirk of the thread. I take it all back. But it is lovely and variegated on the piece of thread that I've got. I thought it was a special thread. Oh, vintage black thread. It's still vintage black thread. It's still very nice thread. It's nice and thick and like a cotton sateen type. So it's cotton, chain cord, chain 6 cord. It's very old. If it's got like a wooden spool, it's very old. So it's just one of my vintage, and it's going to make a nice snippet roll or something. I don't know what I'm going to make with it afterwards, but I'm sure it'll be nice. I've got an idea of doing some things that you hang on a Christmas tree. I've always got ideas. But anyway, this piece of thread is variegated, and I'm sure I've used it before and it's gone like that, so I don't know if perhaps it might have been in the sunshine, but it feels quite strong for something that's sat in the sun. I don't store my threads where they can see the sunlight other than what's in my bag, and that's generally not in a place where you can see the sunlight. So yeah, so we're just making little marks with our thread to bring the bee back to life. We'll do this for a little while. I don't know if I'll manage to complete it in the time that we've got, because I think I'm going to do about half an hour and then I'll have to go make dinner. And then yesterday I came up and I worked on Junk Journal July. I had a meeting with the lady that I'm doing the collab with, Sandra from Be Happy Stationery. I'm on her design team, and yeah, we just thought we would stand in the gap a little bit for Junk Journal July. I know you're all slow stitchers, but there used to be a challenge that was a yearly challenge led by Meg Journals, and she decided to put it down. And we were all disappointed. I know I was. I quite like the Junk Journal July challenge. So we are trying to do something similar. It'll be a lot smaller, obviously, because we don't have the reach that Meg Journals has. But we're not gonna, worry about smallness. We're just gonna try and make some connections. That's my word of the year. It's kind of connections. My intent for the year is to really connect with people. So if you've not commented in the comment box, please do introduce yourself. I love it. I love it. I love talking with people, and sometimes it's a bit tricky that I noticed today on the app that I have, it didn't show all the comments, and some of them were quite late. So I will get there and I will comment. It just sometimes it doesn't show me the comment until quite late. I don't know why. There's a bit of a lag on the. It's like an app called YouTube Studio, and it's like the back end of YouTube basically. It's what creators use. Get me. I'm a creator. So I did that last night after I did the video, and then tonight I've really got to get to grips with a few things for this thing I'm doing at the weekend. I just checked the weather. They said it's going to be 31 degrees, and that's quite a lot for the UK. We're not set up for any sort of heat, and I know it doesn't sound a lot if you live in other parts of the world. I don't know how to describe British heat. I think because it's what we call muggy, so it's kind of, there's a lot of humidity in the heat, and we're not set up for it. Our houses are set up to keep the heat in, not to keep the heat out. And this is going to be in a big old barn that's black, because I looked it up. It's like an old, how do I describe this? It's like a really old English way of building. If you're in America, and you like the New England buildings that's got like the wood siding on it, well, it's called New England because it used to be, England. It's like those types of buildings. There's just everything's painted black. There's like black sidings. And I'm like, I'm a little bit, I might email the lady who's running it. And it's quite, and see what's happening. Now, it's quite laborious doing this kind of thing. I'm just slowly building it up. And I'm chatting to you, so I'm actually not being as strategic as I normally am because I'm chatting to you. We'll do a little leg, we'll do a little bit of it so we get a little idea, and then I'll show you some examples of what I've used it on. Trying to look, because there's times where I've just used the stamp, and that's good enough as well. Just sometimes it looks a lot richer when you kind of just stitch paint over the top. I went to my little haberdashery cupboard and got some yellows. So I've got a different variety of yellows just to sort of add. The yellow on the screen, it looks a bit different to the yellow I can see. This yellow's got a lot more green in it, whereas this one's quite, it's like a buttercup yellow, I would describe the yellow of the cloth. Yeah. So I've had a busy day. I was going to have some time to do some training this afternoon, and then I ended up having an appointment. So I feel a little bit like, I've not got all this stuff done, but actually all for a very good reason. But that's alright. I've still got 2 days of the week left, and generally what I find is, I don't know if you find this if you work, that I find it all comes together on that last 2 days of the week. I managed to wrangle it, and then by the time Friday rolls round, I'm like, okay, yep, everything is in its place. And the good thing is I always have a case management on a Monday, and that really consolidates to see if everything is in place by the time we finish that. But there we go, there's a little leggy. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because once you sort of build it up, like the whole thing just sort of comes to life. But it does take some time. Obviously, I'm a bit distracted because I'm talking to you, and I can hear people coming in from work because I've been in the house on my own today. Little's at college, so she goes off on the train, so I don't know when she'll be back. But I have just heard my husband come in. He is in an office in Cambridge, and so he drives in. So I've just heard him come back in. We'll have to work out what we're going to have for supper. I think we're going to do a braai. We've got some meat to braai that'll last today and tomorrow. That's kind of in the summer as a pattern of, especially when it's hot, try and cook outside and just eat what you've made from one day to the next. So it'll sort of like be a braai with things on bread, like burgers or sausages. I don't know what we've got in actually. One or the other. And then tomorrow we do something called a Buddha bowl. I don't know why we call it a Buddha bowl. I think it's because you can get something similar from like Bill's or something like that. That's why we call it a Buddha bowl. We will do that and have it like all in a bowl with some rice and lots of veg and olives and like a big salad. So possibly might do that with the sausages tomorrow and cook the burgers up as well today and eat the burgers on the buns. I think that's what we'll do. But keep your tension. If you were clever about it. I'm not clever about it. You put it in a hoop. But because I'm going to cut all of these out and then they're going to go to the event on Saturday, and just to be sort of stitched on as an element, not really, not particularly belonging to anything, then, I haven't done that. So, but you do just have to keep pulling your fabric to make sure the tension's right. Otherwise, everything will just end up in a big ball. So I think we'll do along here, and a bit along his bum, and then we'll have a look at what other things are. I don't know how interesting it is to watch somebody slow stitch. I think I've said this before, because it doesn't feel very dynamic, and it feels like social media is all about dynamism. I can't talk. And it isn't very, but then we all know that's why we do it. So I don't know. Perhaps I need to just sort of readjust my expectation. But you can see it's not perfect, but actually it doesn't need to be. And bees are a really good thing to do this with, because bees are fuzzy, so they don't have very defined edges. So it kind of works out just as well, really, because of that fuzziness. Although I don't like there we go, because it was bunching up. Just have to keep giving it a yank. So yeah. So I don't know what this Saturday is going to bring. If it's going to be 31 degrees, and I wasn't anticipating on it being that busy anyway. But yeah, 31 degrees is quite hot. So I don't know if people will be like, "Oh, let's get out," because it's hot. But then they're probably more likely to go to somewhere where there's aircon, and 100 years or a few 100 years old barn in the middle of the British countryside will not have air conditioning. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, oh, it might be a bit of a disaster. But then, do you know, it was funny because I sought out my very first video on YouTube today, just while I was doing a lot of typing up. I just wanted to look back and not watch it intensely, because that's a bit cringe, but just have it on in the background while I was typing notes, which was a bit strange listening to your own voice when I was typing the notes up, but there we go. And I noticed at one point it was like even my phone is saying the device is too hot. How can you be too hot? You're literally not touching anything. It is quite warm in here. So, what was I saying? Yeah, I was watching this video and I was looking, I had some of the products that I sold on a craft stall before Christmas, because the video was actually filmed in January, and I was reflecting back on stuff. And I didn't end up filming anything for 2 years after that I made this video, and it's because I needed help to edit it, and it just became a barrier. And so that's why I do this sort of switch the camera on, even though that's what happened on that. It was a very simple little film with no editing at all, and no, card at the beginning, card at the end. But I was so unfamiliar with it that I kind of, it just became a barrier, and I didn't do any more of it. So I was watching this, and I was telling myself a story, because obviously I'm talking to myself. Like, really was at the time, even then, because I think 3 people watched it initially. It's got more views since, but I think that's since the channel started to grow. About how much I was charging for these things on this craft stall, and I looked at, there was one of these paper packs, and I still have these paper packs because they don't go off, obviously. If I didn't sell them, I wasn't breaking them back up again, and I was charging £10 for them, and they had like over 100-year-old pieces of dress silk and vintage kimono and 200-year-old wedding agreement bits of paper in it, Victorian letters, and I was like, oh, okay. Because I remember at the time I was doing this stall, these ladies came over, and they were both very nice, but obviously, like, veterans of the crafting thing, and they were like, you're selling this too low. I was like, okay. So I think I am gonna, because I've not priced everything yet. I've not priced anything yet. I'd actually thought I would do that on Friday. That would be, I'd have it settled in my head, and I would just sit and, because I don't have very many things to sell, I would just sit and decide how much I'm charging for, like, this naked junk journals that I'm going to sell, but they're still a handmade book. And then there's these sort of ephemera packs. And I thought, okay, I don't think, because they were £10 a pack, I don't think I feel brave enough to sell them for more, even though I feel like I should, because the amount of money and time it took to build the resources to be able to put these packs together, it's quite a lot. So I don't know. I don't know. There we go. Should we do the leg? And then I'll show you what smaller versions of how I've used them. And they might be things that I put on the table, you see, as well, because I'm gathering all the little bits and pieces. And I've been doing giveaways, and actually basically the giveaways that I first started, they was just giving away things I made for this craft stall, this craft market, because I'd made loads of stuff, and I was like, oh, I've got all this stuff left over now. And I don't know, I still might. Somebody asked, do I sell my journals? Somebody in the comments. And I don't know. I don't know what the interest would be. I don't know how I would do it with the rest of the world. Particularly, like, if I look at the people who watch. So you're either from Australia, the UK, Canada, and America. And you see, like, Australia, the postage would be a lot. I don't mind, because that can be factored into the price, and I think people understand that. I think the postage to Canada, I recently sent a parcel out to Canada, and that was a lot of money for a little box, really. And I remember I've got nephews in Canada. My little brother lives in British Columbia, so I was like, oh, that's much more than it used to be when I used to send the boys stuff out for Christmas. They're not boys now, they're the grown-ups. But yeah, it kind of, I thought, oh, that's a factor. And then I don't know how all the tariff thing works. Although I don't think it's that bad, is it, for the UK? I don't know if it affects it at all, or... So I don't know whether to do it through Etsy. I think Etsy might be that way because then it would tell you, but then I've heard Etsy's expensive, and I just don't know. I just want to make things. So I kind of get a little bit like, I just want to make things. So I don't know. I don't know whether you could do it. I think I qualify now on the YouTubeness. I think I might qualify for selling things through YouTube. I don't know. I'll have to have a look. Because if that might be the way, having a little YouTube shop, or that might be a qualify to put a link in. I don't know. I'm literally just somebody who decided I wanted a YouTube channel and took 2 years to work up the courage to actually do it. Because once I released myself from the barrier of like the technology and just was like, well, what's the simplest way to do it? And I am doing it the simplest way. So I do it on the day or a few days before. I now have 2 mobile phones, old mobile phones that I use. So I have this one, which is a Google Pixel. And then I have this BlackBerry. And this BlackBerry has a lot more storage. So there are a couple of videos on there that I've got in hand. So like tomorrow and Friday possibly, or Friday and Saturday might be those 2 videos, just so that I can still post something, but I don't necessarily have to be sat in the craft room doing it. So there's that. I am sort of developing, but the editing thing, I think it's the amount of time as well. I kind of have this fear of getting sucked doing jobs that don't fulfill, but also, because I work full time, I don't have a lot of time, and so I want to do the things that I want to do. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Right, I'm just going to put some like fill stitches where I've only got a few bits left. Oh, what are you doing? So I don't know if Miles is just going to actually start the braai up. I can hear him. I hear Lily's just come in. Oh, I can hear a giggle. So I don't know if he picked her up at the train station, which might have happened because it's a really hot walk back. It takes me about 45 minutes. I think for her it's more like 25. So it sounds like that. Right, let me get you some examples. That means I need to get up a little minute. Where did I put that box? Oh, I need to get up straight away. So I have lots of boxes and things. So this is my brooches. Have a look at them. Why? Let's see if that other one's got a bee that's embroidered. It does. Oh, so I can grab that. Any more on that? Nope. Okay. So, actually I will grab that one. I should have used this one. Oh, I don't like the word should, but there you go. Be yourself. That would have been good on Monday, wouldn't it? So that's one of my, and I've talked about doing these little rolls just as a little something to do. And you can use sticks and twigs to kind of, instead of the cotton reel, but I have an abundance of cotton reel, so I do both really. So this one is my Be Kind one. I think it's probably one of the first ones I've done, and it's actually the button placket off a shirt, like one of my husband's shirts. Oh, and there's the writing, Be Kind. I might go over this writing. I've got some lovely gold thread. I might go over it with a gold thread. I don't know. Because, a project's never really finished, is it? But I like that it's got a little heart there. But this is what we're really looking at. So this is like a bee that was stamped out. It's a different one. This is a wood block bee stamp. There is, I think it's hung up on a peg somewhere in the bag. But it's the same size as that, and it's just been kind of stitch marked, stitch painted, and literally that's just in black and on the same fabric actually. So that's what that one looks like. And then I've used it. So this is fabric samples, and I've just sort of layered them up onto felt to like make the flowers. And then this is just a really sweet little back. But that's the bee. That's what we're looking at. Look at him. And you can see even though like the stamp has bled a little bit, and sometimes it's good to actually put a piece of felt behind to help with the tension, particularly on the little ones. That's what I would do. But the big one, I don't think it matters that much. Isn't that sweet? Got any more? Any more for any more? This is another one. Again, like a little broochy badge type situation. I don't know how much I'm going to ask for these. But because there's a lot of stitching, there's a lot of work gone into it. Cute little bee. That's not a bee, that's not a bee. But that's like just using the ones that are just stamped. You know, you can just use like your stamps and make things like this. I like that. It's got headlights with buttons. Just a safety pin. It's like a stamp. This is a stamped flower, but then these are old fake flowers. Find old fake flowers. I need a word. You know, like in charity shops, I've not done that for a while actually. I think that might be my next purchase. And you sort of take them off the stems, wash them first actually whilst they're on the stems, they won't disintegrate that way. Then when they're dry, take them off the stems, put them in a jar, make things with them. But yeah, see, oh, that one's a sweet one. I need to find the bag with the leftover gubbini bits. Anyway, I've not really come to show you these bits, but they are sweet. Poppy! That'll be good for November in this country. But there we go. So, it's the bees. It's the bee's knees. So you can take it from that to that just with adding the black thread. You could go extra and put like some like colours. You could put like a bit of grey perhaps for the veins in between, just to bring it out a little bit different. You could add some different colours of yellow kind of in to it, and I've even got this gold, you know, kind of some little gold thread that you can add. So it's just a continuation of using your stamps and creating an embroidered bee. Alright then, you be safe, be well. I'll probably get fed up with the bee puns. But I hope to see you soon. Alright then everyone. Bye bye. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do all the YouTubey things that help my little channel grow. Alright then, really I'm going now. Bye bye.